Meet Jen. She's a 20-year-old undergrad who tends to go with the flow and doesn't worry too much about who grabs the bill when out with friends. But with limited funds, she does want to sort things out sooner rather than later. Google Wallet can help make Jen's payments simpler. Google Wallet is a peer-to-peer payment application that seeks to be a fast, easy, and free way to send money to friends and family. While Android Pay focuses on payments by Jen to stores, apps, and online, Google Wallet is exclusively for payments to people in Jen's circle. This peer-to-peer payment space is rapidly growing, with mobile peer-to-peer transactions expected to reach as much as $86 billion in the U.S. by 2018. But while a number of new companies have entered the space, the market is still dominated by a few large entrants, particularly Venmo. Treetown Usability, a group of graduate students at the University of Michigan School of Information, conducted user experience research on Google Wallet for the Google Consumer Payments team, and made recommendations to the team based on our findings. We focused on the research questions: how can Google Wallet make the user experience more emotionally pleasing? And more specifically, what does Jen find emotionally pleasing and displeasing about Google Wallet? Our target audience was undergrad students aged 18 to 30 throughout the research process. In other words, people like Jen. Here's how we conducted the research and what we discovered.
Treetown Usability conducted a thorough 6-step research process to answer our research questions. Step 1 was an interaction map. We began our usability research by creating a complete interaction map, giving us an overview of the app's functionality and a reference point for future testing and reports. Next, we spoke directly to people like Jen to better understand their feelings about Google Wallet and peer-to-peer payments. We interviewed 2 groups of people, totaling 5 participants, who currently use Venmo and/or Google Wallet. After understanding Jen's experience and needs, we then conducted a comparative evaluation to better understand the market and the expectations that Jen and others have for Google Wallet. From an exhaustive comparison of 23 competitors, we focused on a representative sample of 6 in both direct competition and in analogous markets. Armed with an understanding of the market and competitors, our 5 team members independently tested Google Wallet based on the Nielsen heuristic schema and consolidated our findings into key recommendations.
While Jen is a key persona for our Google Wallet research, to be comprehensive, we needed a broader perspective as well. We also conducted a user survey within our key demographic, 18 to 30-year-olds, with a need to make peer-to-peer payment transaction in the past month. Of the 295 recorded responses, 97 survey respondents satisfied our target segment and were used for further analysis. Finally, we conducted usability tests with people like Jen to observe their behavior when first interacting with Google Wallet, both to develop new insights and verify previous findings and assumptions. The test, conducted with a total of 5 undergrads aged between 18 to 24, focused on the process of sending and receiving money, adding and removing payment methods, along with claiming money and adjusting the settings within the system.
Through our research, we discovered 4 key findings. Jen chooses her payment system based on what her friends are using, which is primarily Venmo. She likes a focused platform, but also likes that Venmo feels warmer and less formal than other apps focused on peer-to-peer payments. Jen feels that Google Wallet is aesthetically pleasing and easy to use, but is also somewhat cold and formal. To address this, we recommend that Google Wallet incorporate the ability to send short animations along with offers and requests in a manner similar to Google Hangouts. Include a more readily available emoji keyboard button. Add a congratulatory animation when a transaction has been made. And consider the ability to illustrate the amounts being discussed, so the initial request message has, for example, 25 burrito emojis behind the text requesting $25.
We also discovered that Jen is familiar with Google as a company, but that doesn't necessarily convey a familiarity with Google products. She's confused about what a peer-to-peer payment system is and isn't, and doesn't understand the difference between Google Wallet and Android Pay or Apple Pay. Google Wallet could address this in one of 2 ways. The first is to more closely integrate the features of Google Wallet with Android Pay on the Android platform, by offering a cross-link within each app that opens to the other app when the functionality is required. For instance, on Google Wallet, having a button that says Pay a Merchant and informs the user that this functionality is part of Android Pay and asks if they would like to open that app. This would better map to the mental model of Jen and many other users. The second option is to consider a broader rebranding and consumer education effort that would make clearer distinctions between Google Wallet and Android Pay.
When using Google Wallet for the first time, Jen is confused by certain input and wording issues, like the change PIN process or entering an amount to send or receive. Google Wallet can address the confusion between entering payments PIN and change Google Payments PIN by changing the input label to have more clarity. One simple fix for the input confusion over the 0 in the input field is to add a blinking cursor once a user has tapped the field. It would also be helpful for the screen to revert back to the tap to send or request money instructions after the user has navigated to a different section.
Jen feels that sending emojis and changing notifications in Google Wallet are not intuitive processes. Because users are having such difficulty discovering the ability to insert emojis into descriptions, a dedicated emoji button would make it clear that emojis can be sent and received within the Google app. This would also help avoid accidentally quick pressing the enter button rather than the long press needed to open the emoji keyboard on Android phones. For notifications, rather than forcing users to go to the settings page through the main menu to adjust settings, it may be helpful to have a shortcut on the notifications screen.
While conducting our research, we had to tackle a number of issues. Because of privacy concerns, the onboarding and introductory screens were skipped over while conducting user testing. This may have impacted the experience of a first-time Google Wallet user, because the welcome screens were not shown when users were first introduced to the app. We also had difficulty recruiting a sufficient number of Google Wallet users. Nonetheless, we were able to compensate for the lower amount of Google Wallet users by using expert heuristic analysis, a wide survey poll, and an in-depth user interview with users provided by the Google Wallet team. We were also able to learn and apply lessons from competitor products to better understand Google Wallet's comparative strengths and market opportunities.
While Google Wallet has proven to be simple and easy to use, we discovered a few issues that could inhibit its success. With our recommendations backed up by considerable user research, we believe Google Wallet can be well positioned to become the best peer-to-peer tool for Jen and the millions like her.